Hey everyone, and welcome back to G Fun Facts Online. Remember the not-so-distant past when COVID-19 basically turned the world upside down? Well, amidst all the chaos, we learned some incredibly valuable lessons. One of the biggest heroes that emerged, and one that's shaping our future defense against diseases, is something called genomic surveillance. Sounds fancy, right? But stick with me, because it's a game changer. So what exactly is genomic surveillance? Think of it like genetic fingerprinting, but for tiny invisible threats like viruses and bacteria. We're constantly taking samples, sequencing their genetic code, and keeping an eye on how they change and spread. This isn't just about reacting when a new bug appears. It's about being proactive, spotting trouble before it becomes a massive problem. It's like having a global neighborhood watch for pathogens. And the advancements in this field, especially spurred on by the pandemic, are mind-blowing. First up, our ability to sequence these pathogen genomes has skyrocketed. We've massively increased our global capacity for what's called whole genome sequencing, basically reading the entire instruction manual of a virus. And newer tech, like long-read sequencing, is like upgrading from a standard definition TV to an 8K Ultra HD one for looking at complex genetic structures and how these tiny tears are developing resistance to our medicines. Then there's wastewater surveillance. Yep, you heard that right. Scientists are literally checking our sewage for genetic bits of pathogens. It sounds a bit icky, but it's an incredibly clever and cost-effective way to get a snapshot of what infections are circulating in a community, even the ones that don't cause symptoms. The US CDC even has a cool pipeline called Aquascope that helps analyze viral bits from sewage much faster. It's like having an early warning system flowing right beneath our feet. And of course, AI is getting in on the action. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are becoming our super smart partners in this fight. They can chew through colossal amounts of genetic data at lightning speed, helping us predict outbreaks, understand how diseases spread, spot new variants as they emerge, and even figure out the best ways to stop them. There are even things called protein language models. Think of them as AI that understands the language of life itself, making surveillance even more powerful and cheaper. We're also embracing a One Health approach. This is super important. It recognizes that the health of humans, animals, and our environment are all tangled up together. Many diseases jump from animals to humans, right? So genomic surveillance is crucial for monitoring pathogens at this interface, catching those zoonotic spillovers early, and tracking things like antibiotic resistance across all these areas. It's about looking at the big picture. Finally, global teamwork is making all of this possible. Initiatives like the World Health Organization's Global Genomic Surveillance Strategy and platforms like GISL, which you might have heard about during COVID for sharing virus sequences, are all about countries working together, sharing data, and building up everyone's ability to do this vital work. We're even seeing cool public-private partnerships, like programs that monitor pathogens at airports to catch threats on the move. Globally, there's a huge push to beef up this surveillance muscle, especially in countries that haven't had as many resources. This means training scientists, setting up cutting-edge sequencing labs, and building solid data systems. For example, the Africa CDC is working with partners to get all 55 national public health institutes in Africa kitted out with next-generation sequencing capabilities. And places like Fiji have recently launched their own pathogen genomics labs, boosting their power to fight diseases right there on home soil. It's all about making sure every country can be a strong link in the global surveillance chain. Now, it's not all smooth sailing. There are some big hurdles to overcome. First, money. Groundbreaking science needs sustained funding, not just when there's a crisis. We need to keep these systems running and improving all the time. Then there's data harmony. Imagine trying to piece together a puzzle where every piece is a different shape and size. We need to standardize how we do things and make sure data can be easily shared and understood across different labs and countries. Equity is another big one. We need to close the gap between richer nations and those with fewer resources when it comes to these amazing technologies. Everyone deserves access to this kind of protection. And finally, there's the ethics of data sharing. It's a balancing act. We need to share data openly and quickly for public health, but we also have to respect data sovereignty and individual privacy. It's a tricky but vital conversation. Looking ahead, the future of genomic surveillance is incredibly exciting. We'll see even smarter AI playing a bigger role. Well, expand environmental surveillance. Not just wastewater, but maybe even sampling the air around us for potential threats. And there's a huge focus on getting ahead of the game, proactively identifying potential new pathogens out there in the world before they even have a chance to cause widespread trouble. It's like building the ultimate early warning system for the planet. So while the COVID-19 pandemic was a tough teacher, it showed us the power of genomic surveillance. By continuing to invest in these technologies, foster global collaboration, and tackle the challenges head-on, we can build a world far better prepared to face down whatever new microbial monsters might come our way. It's science working at its best to keep us all safer. That's all for this episode of Fun Facts Online. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to stay curious.